we've been posting on social media that we just booked our Cedar Point trip a few days ago, and unfortunately, back to back, Top Thrill 2 has been closed indefinitely, well, at least for the rest of the 2024 season until uh, we hope just the 2025
Yeah,
season.
we hope. I
Um,
mean, I don't know, Zamperla, we'll see, but
so that official news came out here at the end of the week. Gut punch. I mean, if
yeah. Let me put in. So this guy Marcus right here, he gets me so excited on seeing this Twitter account or if it's gonna work. He texts me. He'll text me at like 6 in the morning. I'll be just getting up for the day, and he'll be like, "Hey, did you hear? They're doing testing. They're doing testing. We might have a shot. We might have a shot." So of course I get all excited, and then 3 days of just following along with updates, and it leads to this. So
yeah, so the Twitter account is Top Thrill to open. It's one of those accounts like continuously tweets every single day. And the thing is, here of late, a lot
it's
of
gotten really positive. It's like
I mean, they've been testing. So, as you're gearing up for Halloween weekends, they said all summer long it wasn't going to be a summer long closure. So it's like, okay, is it going to be open for Halloween weekends? And that's something that you and
big
I
event.
kind of talked
Yeah.
about. And one of the reasons that we wanted to try and get up there for Halloween weekends, not just to get up there and enjoy the other world class rides that Cedar Point offers, but we'd be remiss if we didn't say that Top Thrill 2 was kind of up there on top of the
Top on
list.
top, very top. I've never ridden it, so for me, on toppy top top. But I mean, can we just talk about how much of a complete disaster this was for Cedar Point this year? I mean, you have the most. I mean, what you take away. I mean, obviously for reasons it had to be taken away. I guess I get that, but 3 years. I think it was 2021, right? So 2+ years of being taken down one of the best rides in the world, and then you come at it, you have this huge release date, and then it runs 6 days, 6 days, and then it's done for the entire year. It's not great. It's Zamperla. It looks really bad on Zamperla especially. And what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like across the board, everyone, whenever Cedar Point announced that they would be working with Zamperla on the project,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm this, as we've said, a coaster connoisseur, knowing all the ins and outs of the industry, but a lot of people question. They raise their
Yeah,
eyebrow,
we're
like,
yeah we're not
"What's going
experts,
on?"
but it seems
Um,
cheap. Like Zamperla, really? It seems a little cheap.
I mean, it's all sus. So
Like
and
even if they don't want to go Intamin again, you can go B&M. I mean, there's plenty of
there's a lot of
trusted. Yeah.
reputable companies out there, and for whatever reason, Zimberla got the bid, they got the job. But all of that to say, there was so much hype building up to
Mhm.
opening weekend. My wife and I went up there solely because of that. Like, there was no other reason.
The spike, man, the
The
spike. It was
spike.
so
I mean,
hype, bro.
we
Changing
wanted
the
to go and
ride,
experience it.
making one of the best rides ever created, and making it better. Like it was. I mean, it could still be that ride, of course, but it's definitely this is a big black eye for Cedar Point for sure. I mean, just to market this ride how it was and then to run 6 days, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. So very
It's been
disappointing.
a tough look. I mean, it really is a tough look, and just you wanted, and I think it's made worse because of the situation that happened with the original dragster,
Yeah.
and the unfortunate events that followed there. And then you're like, okay, Top Thrill 2, they have the chance to do something really special, really good here, and really, there's an overall theme that a lot of people that I've seen even react so far have said that they had 1 year to get this
Mhm.
right and to get a good PR perception, and it's
They did
just
the
done
opposite. They did the
complete
opposite.
180.
So, okay, I
Um,
have a question for you, and we didn't really talk about this much. We haven't really talked about this much off of camera, but do you think that they went to Intamin and maybe it was too expensive, or do you think because of the accidents they didn't even want to involve Intamin? They just wanted to get someone else completely on it. I'm trying to see why they wouldn't go to Intamin, the creators of the original amazing ride, to do the reboot.
It makes sense. I mean, in your thinking, it's like, okay, the original manufacturer is who you would think that they would go back to, and instead of another company. I wish that I had more insight to
Yeah.
that
Again,
process
we're not
because I'm
experts, so
genuinely
it's all
curious.
conjecture.
I mean, I would like to know, like, and I think a lot of people would like to know because there's been the theme online of saying that Zamperla was the low bid. No one knows
I mean,
that for sure,
it's believable though.
but
Let's
it is because
they must have had a dang good PowerPoint in that room. Just this is why Top Thrill 2 will be the best ride ever. And
well,
we will get that silver train working for 6 days. It won't work
going
out.
to give you 6 days, but I mean, it just seems as if there was a lot of hype, a lot of promise, and it's just completely fallen flat.
Yeah. Well, I
Um,
mean, you kind of lived through the hype and actually got to experience it. So, kind of give your thoughts on Top Thrill 2. Kind of give your short minute review on Top Thrill 2 as a ride when it was working.
I'll say this, and I'm not going to try and come at the situation negative. That's not how I want to be because roller coaster should be positive in and of itself. This is unfortunately just a very negative situation and
Yeah.
just a
Yeah,
bad.
we'll rant a little bit, but we want to we love it at the end of the day.
My thing is for it is I as someone who's wrote it, I wrote it 4 times, got the credit and 4 reps on it. My biggest takeaway from it is I feel bad for those who didn't get to experience it.
Oh, so me, yeah, thanks.
I feel bad for people who planned all of their trips this season solely like
Yeah,
I did for Top Thrill 2. And because I went opening weekend, I had a trip planned in June with my parents. They wanted to ride it. They had never been to Cedar Point. This was a reason that we were all going as a family. And I had also reserved, time for Halloween weekends to go and get guaranteed night rides. So at least 3 trips I was planning for Cedar Point. Um, and thankfully, my first one, it was open. You look at the full total amount of time, and I think up to this point, there's another Twitter account that said that Top Thrill 2 was open like 2% of Cedar Point's
yeah.
operating days or operating
I
hours,
mean, that
whatever.
has to be pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
it's got to be close. And so for me to have been able to experience it, as I've said, um, it was just such a complete ride. Top Thrill Dragster had that kick, had that punch of the lunch, but it was over in 17, 18 seconds. This ride, there was so many elements. You had the forces of launch, but you had it 3 times, and you had it forwards twice, and then you had it backwards
yeah, the
once, and
backwards that seemed like except for maybe the top hat because the top hat's iconic, it's great.
of
But
course, and
the
but
backwards might been you think that might be the second best element or even the best element on the ride?
I'm going to be honest. For me, it was the backwards heading into the spike, and to cap off, as you know, I love airtime. I love that weightlessness feel. As you're going up the backward spike 90 degrees, you're sitting there once it crests, and you're just kind of floating for a couple seconds, and you're looking at all of the other rides. You're looking down on Power Tower, and
Yeah,
that's something in and of
that is
itself.
wild. Yeah,
So it's just that moment of weightlessness, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's over. You're going 120 miles per hour, and you feel it. You're shaking, and you go do the original layout of Dragster.
yeah.
Um, it was just such an awesome experience, and that is why I
It
hate this
stings.
situation so bad. It
Yeah,
really does stink because
it stings.
it's tough for Zamperla for the pressure that they've been put under, fairly or
Yeah,
unfairly. Maybe they shouldn't have been put in the situation in the first place. Some people are like, why did Cedar Point entrust them? That's out of my
yeah.
realm,
I mean,
but
it's
still,
interesting for sure. It's an
it's an
interesting conversation.
it's a conversation to have. And then it's tough for Cedar Point too because this isn't good. It's a bad PR
Yeah.
perception. We went 2.5 months without hearing anything. I'm glad that we finally heard something.
It's you think we heard something because all the different accounts are starting to starting to get some traction. People are like, I really think it's going to be up. They're testing a lot and everything, and then they just drop this. Or do you think something just went wrong in this round of testing and they actually were trying to get it open? Or that's
Honestly, it seems as if even in the statement, Cedar Point. specifically calls out the trains again, but it
Yeah.
seems as if, and I'm not privy to any information, but it seems from other YouTubers and other social media people, there could be more that's going
Mhm.
on. I mean, there for a few
I
weeks,
mean, you're running at 6 days. It's clearly it was just it was a
something's up, something's
yeah.
major wrong.
Because if it was just a train, you just take that train off the track, you run two trains, and you keep it rolling.
Exactly. So something had to have been wrong with all three of those trains to cause them to pull them and not run the ride at all.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we had even talked off air that with Still Vengeance, they ran one train if they were able to get it going, but that wasn't the case with Top Thrill 2. So I something else is going on. Theme park predictions. He's a YouTuber, Brandon. I really like following him, and he had a video come out later this afternoon after the news had dropped, and he said, what really is going on, because 3-4 weeks ago they had what looked like was 3D CAD scanning, trying to
Mhm.
get maybe a model of the ride of the track. So it's like, why would they be doing that
Yeah.
if it
That's
wasn't if it was just the trains?
they wouldn't be. That's well. Let's just
So
hope that next year we have a reason to come back to Cedar Point, and it is. I mean, we're going to come back to Cedar Point anyway, but at least we have something to
exactly.
look forward to going back to Cedar Point, and that it'll be ready. Hopefully, opening day or like I mean, it would be a shame if we went the next year and it wasn't up and running and running well. But yeah,
I
I think
think
we can. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think that's the concern
Yeah,
is
that something's like a detrimental air with it, and it's just not going to work.
but because and you mentioned earlier, just why didn't they call Intamin in the first place? Well,
If that is the case and
if that
it's a
is,
detrimental error, they should probably think about moving off Sam Perla. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, come on. We gotta like. At what point are we trying to move a different direction with it at that point? If they aren't even going to be able to open it up in 6, 7, 8 months down the line. So
well, and it's like, well, I mean, the track is 20 years old.
yeah,
I mean, that's still it's that's tough. So you look at, well, do they consider fixing whatever's wrong with the trains, but also are they looking at seriously retracking this? And that's another point that Brandon from Theme Park Predictions put out there. He said, could they retract this? And I think he had even said, why didn't they retrack it in the first place?
yeah. I
Because
mean, they had 2 years, right? 2.5 years.
they had ample time.
It is interesting for sure.
So a lot of questions that we got an answer. It's not going to be
Yeah, it's gonna
running the
be
rest of
it's
the
a
year.
corporate response, and they're saying 2025, so at least that's something to look forward to. But at the end of the day, we don't know.
Fingers
We
crossed,
do not
because
know.
I definitely want to race for the sky again, and I want everyone to experience it. Of course, selfishly, I want us to be able to go and experience it together. But
Yeah.
um, definitely, we will be planning more trips next year to try and get some more rides on Top Thrill 2 for myself and your first ride there. Get that rare credit. I honestly, I feel like I'm kind of privileged. I've got that
Yeah,
rare
you
credit.
are. You've got not 6 days worth of people have that credit, and you got it. So that is something to be proud of for sure.